If you're working hard in your job search and still not getting or making progress, I want you to look at one specific thing today, and that's how you answer interview questions. Here's what I see all the time. Someone knows they're supposed to use the STAR method. They've read about it, maybe even practiced it, and they still end up rambling. 3 minutes in, and the interviewer still hasn't heard the actual result. Hey, welcome back to HR by Nnamtique. I'm Cynthia, and today I'm going to show you why knowing STAR isn't enough by itself and give you the one extra piece. I call it STAR plus M. That actually keeps your answers short, clear, and easy to remember. So, what exactly is STAR plus M? What does it stand for? I'm going to give you a quick refresher, and I'm going to give it to you in plain terms. So, the S stands for situation. It's one sentence. Where were you? What was going on? Then the T is for task. One sentence as well. What were you responsible for? The A is for action. And this is the part that people typically ramble in. This should be 2 or 3 sentences. What you specifically did, not what your team did, what you specifically did. Then the R stands for result. One sentence, and it gives what happened because of the action that you took. That's the star that most people already know. Now, here's the piece that most people skip. It's that adding that M, which stands for match. And it is one final sentence that connects the story back to the job you're interviewing for. Something like, that's the same kind of problem solving I bring to this role. Without the match, your story is just a nice memory. With it, the interviewer doesn't have to guess why you told them that story. You've done the connecting for them. So let's look at a full STAR plus M story. And we're going to build this out loud. We're going to build it together from start to finish so you can hear exactly what this sounds like. Say you're a project coordinator and the interview question is, tell me a time that you handled a difficult project. So for situation, you could start off by saying, in my last role, I was assigned to a product launch that was already 3 weeks behind schedule when I joined the project. Your task would be, my job was to figure out why it had stalled and get it back on track without blowing the budget. Action. Your action statement would be, I met individually with each team lead to find out where the real bottlenecks were. It turned out 2 departments were waiting on the same approval. I restructured the approval process so both could move at the same time. And I set up a short daily check-in to catch new delays early. Then your results statement would be something like, we launched only 1 week late instead of the original month-long delay. And the daily check-in process is still used by that team today. Now, when you add that plus M, your match, to tie it back to the role that you're interviewing for, you'll say this. That's the same kind of hands-on problem solving I'd bring to this coordinator role. finding the real bottleneck instead of just reporting that one exists. Count that out loud. It's about 45 seconds, and it's clear, specific, and it ends by telling the interviewer exactly why it matters to them. So now that we have that all ironed out, let's look at a few mistakes that make Star Ramble anyway. And so that means that we have to talk about why people still ramble even when they know this structure. So mistake number one is talking in labels instead of proof. Saying I'm skilled in communication, leadership, and problem solving isn't story. It's a list of words with nothing behind them. The interviewer needs to see what those skills actually produced. Did your communication reduce complaints? Did your leadership fix a scheduling gap? That's where the story starts to work. Mistake number two is telling the same story the same way for every role. A story you tell for a training role and the story you tell for a project management role might come from the same experience, but the angle should change. You're not making anything up. You're choosing which part of the story to lead with based on what this specific interviewer cares about. Then finally, mistake number three is burying the result at the end of a long action section. This is the biggest mistake that interviewees make. People get so deep into describing every step they took that by the time they reach the result, the interviewer has mentally moved on. Keep your action section to 2 or 3 sentences, tops. Save the details for a follow-up question if they ask. So now we want to look at some examples across different fields of expertise. And we're going to see this idea play out across each one of these fields, just the shape of the story quickly. A clinic supervisor fixing patient flow. Their situation is long wait times were causing complaints. Their task was to improve flow without adding staff. The action that they took was that they remapped the check-in process and cross-trained 2 staff members to float between stations. Then the result of that action was that average wait time dropped noticeably and complaints stopped. So the match, that plus M, is that the same operational fix-it mindset that's what the role requires. Now let's look at a sales associate handling a service failure. The situation statement is that a shipment error upset a major client. They were tasked with, or that sales associate was tasked with resolving the issue without losing the account. So the action that they took was to personally call the client, offer a concrete fix, and to follow up twice to confirm satisfaction. And that resulted in what? The client staying and later expanding their order. And that plus M, that match, is that that's the kind of ownership this account management role needs. Let's look at yet another one. Let's say you're a compliance analyst correcting audit gaps. Your situation would be, or could be, an internal audit flagged repeated documentation errors, and your task is to fix the root cause, not just the symptoms. So the action that you took was that you built a simple checklist and trained the team on it. Result: the next audit showed 0 repeat errors. And when you add that plus M, the match. You want to tell the interviewer that's the proactive compliance approach this team is looking for. Now, you'll notice that none of these depend on a specific industry. The shape works in operations, healthcare, sales, compliance, education, tech, or trades. Same structure, just a different story. So, here's a fast way for you to check any story before you use it. Say your result and your match out loud without the situation, task, or action. Can a stranger tell what kind of role you're going for just from those two sentences? If your answer is no, your story is missing something, probably a specific result or a match sentence that's too vague. If the answer is yes, you're in good shape. Your interviewer shouldn't have to hunt for why your story matters. Your job is to hand them the connection. So, let's do a 5-minute prep exercise to continue to keep you warm on this STAR+M process. So, here's your homework. And I want you to complete your homework and then come back and comment in the comment section to let me know how everything worked out. Open one job posting for a role you actually want. Write down the top 3 qualities or skills it repeats. For each one of those qualities or skills, ask yourself, where have I actually done this? Then build it out into the STAR+M format. One sentence each for situation, task, and match. 2 or 3 sentences for action, and then 1 sentence for result. If you can't find a real example for one of the 3, that's useful information too. It might not be your strongest talking point for this particular role, and that's okay. Focus your prep time on the stories where you have real proof. So, as you can imagine, there are some common questions that people normally ask about this process. One is, what if I have several target roles? My answer to you would be to keep one master list of your best stories. For each interview, and pick the 2 or 3 that match that role's language and adjust your match sentence accordingly. You don't need new stories for every application, just a new match. Do I need exact numbers? Is another question that I get. Yes, numbers help, but they're not required. If you don't have a specific number, use scope instead. Also, team size, number of customers, timeline, budget, or risk level are also great. You probably have more proof than you think. So, the next question and final question is, what if my story doesn't have a big dramatic outcome? That's fine too. Most real work doesn't. A study improvement, a problem that stopped recurring, or a process that's still in use today are all solid results. You don't need a rescue mission. You need a clear before and after. So, what I encourage you to do is to conduct a 2-layer review. Before you walk into your next interview, it'll give you an opportunity to run each story through 2 quick checks. Layer 1 is fit. Does this story actually connect to the role and the problem this employer has? Layer 2 is credibility. Does the result sound like something a real person did and not an exaggeration? If the story only passes one of those layers, keep revising it. A polished sounding story with no real proof is still weak. A strong result buried in a long, confusing telling is also weak. You need both clarity and evidence together. So, your interview answers don't need to be longer. I need you to remember that. They need to be clearer. If you want help building and practicing your own STAR+M stories, grab the free STAR+M interview story builder and use the HRBN interview and storytelling lab to sharpen them further. And if you want deeper coaching support, explore my Career Search RX or public to private careers transition coaching programs. And before you go, like I said, tell me something in the comments. Not only how this works out for you when you apply it, but also tell me what's the hardest part of telling interview stories for you right now. And if this process that we've reviewed today helped you to overcome at least some of that, knowing where to start, keeping it short, or picking the right example are all key parts to the success of your STAR+M storytelling process. And also before you go, give me a like give me a like and also share this information with other people in your network who want to live their very best career life as well, because that's my mission that I'm on. Also, um, let the algorithm know that it's great information that other job seekers need to hear. That'll help me to help so many more people if you would give me a thumbs up or a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you as a member of the Nnamtique fold. And know that when you subscribe and you click on that notification bell, you'll be amongst the first to know when I drop new content, because I drop new content regularly. And know that your experience already has the proof in it. Your job this week is just to shape it with the situation, the task, the action that you took, the result that came from your actions, and that plus M match back to your role of interest that you're interviewing for. So the right listener can follow it in under a minute. So how about that? Until the next video, career success to you. Go get your new job.